Spider-Woman, the Boogeyman, Baby Yaga, and more. These are the top 10 scariest mythical creatures you've never heard of. If you learned something, hit that subscribe button, and if you enjoyed the new content, give us a like. Number 10, Juragumo. Juragumo is a quintessential spider lady, a creature from the yokai classification of Japanese spirit. Yokai vary in temperament from friendly to malevolent, but the Juragumo mostly certainly falls in that last category. A sinister sexuality is also closely associated with the Juragumo. The mythical creature is described as a spider woman who can shapeshift into an attractive human woman in order to tempt and devour the living. Trickery, subterfuge, and deception are common themes within the legends of Juragumo, with these spirits almost always either misleading or misdirecting their prey in the hopes of catching them off guard. Number 9, Cockatrice. You're probably all closely acquainted with the Greek tales of Medusa, and how her gaze was said to turn her victims to stone. However, what you might not know is that she isn't the only mythical creature with the ability to kill through the act of looking. Stories of the basilisks tell the tale of a reptile who can murder with just a single glance. The subject of our entry, however, is perhaps even more frightening. The cockatrice is prevalent in English mythology, appearing as a bipedal dragon with the head of a rooster. Its eyes, and sometimes even its breath, is said to cause death. Although, interestingly enough, weasels are apparently immune to the cockatrice's power. Number 8, Strigoi. If you're searching for the roots of the modern vampire mythos, look no further than the Strigoi. These Romanian spirits are restless bloodsuckers that rise from the grave and seek out human victims. The Strigoi also possess powers that we commonly associate with vampires, such as the ability to turn invisible or into some kind of animal, and of course, the blood-sucking. There are a number of origin stories for the Strigoi, with varying accounts claiming an individual could turn into one of these creatures after death, should that person either take their own life, die unmarried, or simply be unlucky enough to be born the seventh in line and of the same gender as their siblings. Some Romanians were so scared of the Strigoi, they even exhumed the bodies of loved ones. Just to check. Number 7, Bulgaseri. We're not sure which is stranger, the origins of the mythological Bulgaseri, or the real-life, harrowing tale of the kidnapped director and his wife who were forced to produce a film on the creature by the North Korean government. The original myths of the Bulgaseri show up in both Korean and Chinese culture, with the name roughly translating to impossible to kill. The creature appears as a giant four-legged beast with a clubbed tail and arrives armed with an insatiable hunger for metal. They are said to begin life rather small, as the creation of a Buddhist monk who builds the beast out of rice grains. The monster grows exponentially, however, destroying homes and causing chaos until he's set on fire by the local populace. Number 6, Bubak. Hands up, who's afraid of the boogeyman? The Bubak is a Czech approximation of the creature, a malevolent stealer of children who's believed to possess no physical form at all, but is often depicted as a terrifying scarecrow with the frame of a skeleton. In order to get his general horrific nature across. Bubak is said to whisk away misbehaving children from their homes and hide them away in his large coat. It's a story that's often compared to the Sackman that appears in countries such as Poland, Portugal, Italy, and Spain, the latter of which he actually eats the children he catches. Number 5, Rokor Kobe. The Rokor Kobe is another Japanese yokai monster with a wild and sinister appearance. Well, sometimes. The Rokor Kobe can actually appear as a normal human most of the time. The kicker, however, is when its neck gets ridiculously long and its head detaches from its body. That's when things get, weird. There are some stories that associate the Rokor Kobe with a night attack, specifically the stories of the Nukikubu variety, with heads who were said to leave their bodies in search of victims to drink blood from. This behavior can also be observed in other monsters from countries like Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia, with the heads of these beasts detaching from their bodies and flying around with their entrails still connected. Number 4, La Segua. Lounge lizards and pub crawlers, beware. For the next one-night stand you may have, just might be with La Segua. This Nicaraguan legend is a cautionary tale against premarital sex. La Segua's origins stem from the story of a woman abandoned by a man she had intercourse with before marriage. The legend says he promised to wed her after the fact, then his lie caused her to go insane. Now she forever seeks out victims for revenge. Those unlucky enough to encounter La Segua really live to tell the tale. Since the creature's true face is that of a skeletal horse with frightening eyes, the gaze from which her victims are driven to madness. Number 3. Chupacabra. The Chupacabra is another mythological creature closely associated with the attributes of vampires. Although this beast of Puerto Rican origin tends to primarily attack animals and livestock, the word Chupacabra translates to goat sucker in Spanish, and is described to have an appearance ranging from that of a small reptilian to that of a hairy bear with sharp spines. Anecdotal sightings range from places like Russia, Chile, and Puerto Rico, all the way to the USA's very own state of Maine. The Chupacabra is also a unique entry on this list due to its comparatively modern origins, with stories detailing their habitual blood drinking and animal slaying only really dating back to the mid-70s, and gaining steam during the 90s. Number 2. Alp. You may never have your same old boring nightmares again after seeing creatures described in this entry. Both the Baktak and the Alp are manifestations of sleep paralysis. They're malicious creatures that typically sit on the chests of sleeping victims, preventing them from breathing. The Alp and the Baktak are said to curse nightmares during their attack, and are sometimes also associated with an incubus or a succubus, though that's not as common. They're said to steal blood or breast milk from their victims. By the way, all victims, that is, if you weren't creeped out enough. Their mischief is akin to that of elves, and Alps will do things like steal and reapply a dirty diaper upon an unsuspecting baby when the parents aren't looking. Number 1. Menon. If you thought that the roe Korakubi's habit of detaching his head was weird, just wait till you get a load of the Menon. This creature from the Philippines actually separates its entire torso into two before growing giant wings and going out on a nocturnal hunt for blood. The Menoningle's vampiric behavior often focuses on pregnant women, and they'll use their long tongue to suck the fetus's heart while the mother is asleep. Luckily, the Menoningle also seems to possess the same weakness that vampires do, so garlic and holy water will do the trick should you ever encounter one.